Today on Q&J, puppies!
Q and J.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another Q&J. As always, my name is Jay, and today I'm joined by Spock, one of our new recent animals that we've acquired here at J House. And I just wanted to put him in a video because everyone's been asking about the new puppy on Facebook, so I decided to put him in my new Q&J episode. So let's get him in this video. Let's see, he doesn't want to stare at the camera. Okay, I'll just put him in my lap here. But he is a miniature dachshund. He's actually a full-grown miniature dachshund. That's as big as he's going to get. And he's only 10 pounds. And he does not want to be here. No, he does not. But it's okay. We got him from a local breeder who had to downsize her breeding group. So we took him off her hands. And he is just awesome. And for the record, his name was actually Spock before we got him, and that's even more adorable. So he's super cute. He's shaking uncontrollably, as dachshunds do for some reason. It's okay. So, if at one point I might have to pause this video and let him go run back into his cover, that might happen. So, today we're going to start off with the questions. And as you guys left a lot of questions and comments on last week's video, and yeah. So, and I really appreciate the feedback you guys are giving me on my new style of J versus J battle reports. It really does mean a lot. So let's get started. Quiet Ones says, hi there. Quick orc question. Does the blast marker still scatter when using the shock attack gun when a double is thrown and you consult the appropriate table? I think so. Let's check here. I think it is. That's a very good question, Quiet One. I'm pretty sure it does, because you're supposed to roll. It does say implicitly you're supposed to roll. You place the marker and then you roll the strength, but it's before the scatter die is thrown. So I do understand your comment. Let's see here. Shock attack gun. Here we go. To fire the shock attack gun, roll 2d6 to determine its strength after placing the template, but before rolling the scatter die. Okay. If an 11 or any double is of the gun strength, consult. If an 11 or any double is rolled for the gun strength, consult the table below. Boom, no shot is fired. So in that case, you don't roll it. 2, opponent gets to place the large blast marker. Target can be a unit in the same side as the Big Mac. I think then you roll it. I would understand if you had to roll from then, because it does scatter. The resolve is shot upon the nearest unit. The target is not locked in combat. It can be fired or foe. Okay. 4, sploosh. Resolve strength 6, AP 6. Small marker. I think so. I would guess yes. Because I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. Because it is a blast template. And it would say, if an 11 is rolled, consult the table below, and don't roll. I think they would have, the new codices especially, they've been focusing on removing the ambiguity. So I think that they would, still have to scatter as possible. I could be wrong. Now, if you disagree with me, leave a comment in the comment section down below. XUK Dunker says, hey Jay, I've recently begun to play orcs and was just seeking some advice on army-less playstyles that are effective in the new Codex. Great videos, keep it up, thank you very much. Playstyles. Non-bikers is still pretty competitive. Yeah, depending on what army you're up against. Non-bikers are pretty competitive. What do you think? Sorry about that. The dog just went crazy and started barking at the male person, so I've let Spock go hide again. But so far with orcs, I found actually the can wall list has been pretty good and competitive, because vehicles in general got better in 7th edition, and so having a huge wall of cans and walkers, and the Morkanaut, to me, the Morkanaut is an awesome unit for the orc codex. Non-bikers seem to be pretty viable still. They hit hard. The only problems with orcs is whatever you hit, you got to hit really hard and hope they don't hit you back. Because orcs, in my opinion, are pretty much the biggest glass hammer in 40k right now. Dark Eldar is arguably one of the other ones, but orcs are terrible for being a glass hammer. They have no saves. And anything that's good in close combat will go through their 4-up armor save, and there's no such thing as invols anymore in close combat for orcs. And Feel No Pain is nice, but you can only include so many pain boys. So I'd still say battle wagons are competitive. Battle wagons with a big mech inside them are going to be competitive. Whatever you need, big mechs with custom force fields are arguably the best choice for HQs for the Orc Codex. At least bring 1 or 2, because they help get your guys across the field with an invol, which are great against Tau, which ignore cover. Non-bikers are good. Canwall's good. Battle wagons are good. DACA jets are still pretty good. You know, they were a little OP in the previous Codex, people say, so they got nerfed a little bit in this edition. But yeah, that's really what it works. But you got to bring a bunch of boys. I would recommend. Boys are still interesting. The only problem is orcs are kind of a close combat army in a shooting game. So it's no. Venislav says, people, you can't issue 2 orders to the same unit in 1 turn. Stop cheating your opponents. Stop. From Venislav. Quiet One says, hi again, Jay. Just been wondering, just watching the J vs. J bat reps, and I like the way you have developed them into an informative tactical report. A 2-player game is probably more fun due to the banter between the 2 players. Yes, exactly. But I certainly think there's a nice niche for the J vs. J type style. Being a newish orc player, always glad to see orc bat reps of any kind. Thank you. That's really mean. Thank you very much. Quiet One. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't intentionally do the J vs. J battle report style if I have the chance of having an opponent. I've been trying to seek out opponents, and it looks like I will be able to find opponents in the upcoming weeks. I'm slowly but surely able to narrow down and get people to come and play against me. But if not, I really want to keep producing content for you guys. And I really like the J vs. J style in the sense that because I can be so transparent with I can talk as if my opponent's not listening, right? Because I'm my own opponent. And I think it really is good for tactic. And also, if I make mistakes, people are catching my errors in my Tactica much easier, and it really does add to the conversation. So it has been I think it's a good suggestion. David Battaglia. Not Battaglia. Battaglia. I've been pronouncing that wrong for like 1.5 years. Jay, do you think that GW will start releasing special codices for 40k? Things like Eldar craft worlds, Orc clans, Space Marine successor chapters for 13th Company, etc. In this way, GW could revitalize the community with cool new armies to buy, build, and paint. I actually see they could, because they've been doing supplements, and the supplements are kind of the way to go. I wouldn't say new special codices, I'd say supplements, for sure. Because, as you mentioned, Eldar craft worlds, right? Because Yanin has a... Yanin, doesn't it? Yes, Yanin has a supplement. And Gothskull Thraka got his own supplement because he's basically the leader of the Goths. And Space Marine Successor chapters, they've been doing those. You know, the Sentinels of Terror have gotten them. I think so. I really do see them doing that. I don't see them doing it for Dark Eldar. Maybe Dark Eldar. I don't see them doing it for Dark Eldar. Grey Knights, no. And it's just, I would really hope that maybe Blood Ravens would get theirs when Blood Angels are probably 2 codices away. Obviously, it's been pretty much established that Dark Eldar are next, and afterwards should be Blood Angels. So maybe Blood Ravens could get theirs, and it'd be really cool. I agree, it would bring a lot more flavor. With cool new armies to buy, build, and paint. And Dave Battaglia says Johnny Torrance. Oh, I should probably organize these. That doesn't matter. We'll go over them as long as we go over all the comments. You might also consider blue table painting for tabletop quality. You can pay in cash or trade in models you don't need for credit, which can be applied to your painted projects. That's true. Blue table painting. Inquisitor Charlie says, hey Jay, was reading the Tyranid Codex and started to think about Onslaught and how it lets you run and shoot. Then I looked up the rules for run, and it says you can run instead of shooting, so I could have Hormigons give up their shooting to get a second run move. I would say no, just because I have not seen it played that way, but can't find anything in the sentences rule against it. I don't think you can. That's a very interesting thought, but I think it's because it says in the Codex that you don't have a weapon skill, you just can't shoot. So I think you only get 1 run in that. It only works if you have a gun as well. But a very good idea. That's a cool way of bending the rules. I think it's an interesting approach. I don't think it's possible though. Attaboy94 says, what's your opinion on using super heavies in normal games? If you want, go for it. Just make sure that both opponents are aware, because if both opponents are bringing super heavies, it's okay. Escalation, there's a reason for escalation. As long as both opponents know it and have an answer to each other, you're okay. You know, there was this really hilarious battle report I once filmed for Mini Wargaming where one guy named Trevor brought a Scout Titan and a Void Shield Generator, and his opponent, the Eldar player, had nothing to answer it, and it was a hilarious game. It was just Eldar player removing arm squads at a time. It was pretty cool. So as long as both people have an answer to them, I don't see a problem with it at all. Only super heavies, what I have are those which come in Necron Vault Kit. Okay, cool. By the way, what do you like them? What do I like them? Out of all the super heavies, the Necro one's insane. I love it. The one that little Catan that runs around the battlefield killing everything. My dream is an army of Grot tanks eventually. Try Catan only once, and it died fast for Stompas, close combat attacks. Yeah, the Catan's pretty insane though. I'm an Orc player. I love the Stompa. Even a Baneblade or a Storm Sword would be great. A Shadow Sword would be great, or a Storm Sword. Now you tried Vault. Jekka Sarata. I can't say that. Keep up the good work. Trying to find out something to teach you and finish next time. Thank you. Jatka Samarata. Yuritkan Ketsia. I give up. Yes. Thank you very much. Attaboy. Actually, I don't mind. If people bring super heavies, it adds another layer. The only problems with super heavies is the opponent has to have an answer for it. So if people bring a super heavy, you're in great shape, and it's okay. It'll be a fun game. It's like a mini apocalypse game, right? It's like an escalation. Johnny Torrance says, Jay, caught your Grey Knight versus Orc battle report. Pretty interesting. What do you think about a war boss on a bike with lucky sticks? Could work. I never thought about it. Lucky sticks could work. Team them up with a squad of 5 Devcopters and a pain boy on a bike. Devcopters can buzzsaw. Would they not give the war boss hit and run and scout? I think so. They're way cheaper than knobs on bikes, and with the lucky sticks, the squad gets WAP and or equivalent. That's true. He gets the +1 to weapon skill. Great idea. I gotta get some Devcopters painted up. Devcopters are one of the squads I really want to add. There's so many squads I want to add for Orcs. Orcs have so much variety. I love them. That's one of the things I love so much about Orcs. It's one of the downsides to Grey Knights now, is Grey Knights really don't have that much of a selection. So if you're up against a Grey Knight player, it'll be relatively easy to predict what he's going to bring. But, yeah. And I'm doing a painting challenge next month. Just to let you guys know, in case you haven't seen the video, it'll be up shortly before this one. And I'm doing a painting challenge where I'm going to paint 1,000 points of an army. And I want you guys to help choose. So go to the video and tell me what army you want me to paint up. Dark Angels, Tyranids, Orcs, or Grey Knights. And I'll add 1,000 points. And do a army showcase at the end of the month for the most popular army. Jesse Heiss says, hey, if it hasn't been covered yet, without an airbrush, how would you achieve the same effect you on the armor for Vulcan Heston you painted a while ago? I really liked the gradual brightening of the greens moving up the model. Cheers. It's no problem. It's literally, you can do the same effect with the brush. You just gotta be, you gotta just constantly move your model, essentially. It takes practice to figure out the angles. But people do this with non-metallic metal as well. Is just, you know, if you're trying to move up gradually with the armor, you can either do two things. A, just, you know, do gradient down, starting at the top downwards. But if you're trying to do, like, angles, you literally just turn your model at the angle, observe what is visible at that angle that you would normally be hitting with an airbrush, and focus on those areas. It just takes some practice, but it is very possible. And people who do non-metallic metal or what's that other called? Cell shading. Just are very well practiced at it. They know what angle, what would be visible at any angle. When you turn the model towards you, you can kind of face it, you know, and just figure out what angles. But it's possible. It's just easier with an airbrush. Very much easier. Sergeant Harker says, hey Jay, Harker here. Hey Harker. You actually missed a comment of mine. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to miss the comment. It's no big issue. But I was leaving a message about using Bullgrins to give the guard a fighting chance of making a good rush up. Oh, good. And if they engage the avatar very quickly, and made it hard for him to remove them due to high toughness, good wounds. They are just hard to get rid of. That's true. Very good point. Also, the objective secured special rule is a cut and dry on how it works. Yes, that's what I thought too. If your opponent is bringing a standard list, whether it be an army support, a Battleforged army works like this. If I take the Nemesis formation from Grey Knights, that means I took that as my formation. Exactly. The Battleforged army is the Forge or Force organization in the rulebook. 3 elites, 3 heavies, 3 fasts, and so on. Each has a command benefit, and objective secured is the benefit of a Battleforged army. In the rulebook. Yes. I think the debate was whether or not you actually have to. I think it's just my personal understanding of it is that only troops from another army, like only troops can contest. That's the rule for objective secured. So, yeah. Last question, Jay. Are there any of the upcoming armies you just aren't excited for the update? No. Actually, really not. Other than possibly Dark Angels. I don't know when Dark Angels is going to fall. I was thinking about it after last week's Q&J. And they're probably coming up soon. Probably the next 6 months or so, maybe a year. But no, I'm excited to see Dark Eldar get an update and bring them, I really like Dark Eldar. And the new models are great. I'm glad that they're getting an update. I hope it's done well. Brought to you by Mountain Dew. And then Blood Angels, I'm kind of curious to see what they do with them. They're Space Marine Codex, they'll still be pretty good. I'm personally not excited for the Dark Eldar release. The Space S&M Club doesn't do anything for me, and the models look kind of like ugly blobs, overlapping edges, flesh. Oh, sorry to hear that, Sergeant Harker. Because I prefer the Dark Elves in fantasy. They just look a bit cleaner to me. That's true. The Dark Elves are a really nice looking army in fantasy. Clear to me. Trying to go and dyed hair doodles in this notebook seems to be done. I don't know. That's just why I Dark Eldar. No problem. I personally like it, but I understand why you don't. I do find that Dark Eldar are one of the armies that are very hit and miss with people. People either really love them or really hate them. People love their fluff or really, really hate their fluff, i.e. Matt from Mini Wargaming. So, no problem. Everyone has the right to their own opinion. No one's better than the others. And, no, I'm personally excited to see Dark Eldar get their own release. I was hoping that they'd get a cool new model or a cool new, giant upgrade. It doesn't look like that. It looks like they're going to get a slight tweak to their codex. It won't be, some new kits, but it won't be this new epic model. I'm hoping they kind of get one. Kind of like because let's face it, Eldar got the Dread Knight. No, they didn't. Grey Knight's got the Dread Knight. Wraith Knight. And, Tau got the Riptide. It'd be kind of cool seeing Dark Eldar's version of it. Dark Eldar version of a Wraith Knight. Christopher Tucker. Hey Jay, do you know that 7th edition threw away independent characters restrictions, meaning I can field Mephiston and with Dante? Brother Corbulo, a chaplain, Dante, and a hard-hitting squad placed in a storm region. Cool. For sheer lunacy, I'm more than willing to try this. Can you think of any independent characters from 6th Ed that you could come up with? Silly cheese, the better. From 6th Ed that you could come up with, say. Not that in particular. To me, I just thought it was kind of cool. You can field Mephiston with Dante, Brother Corbulo, a chaplain, Dante, and Hart. Interesting. No, to me, like Oscar Thraka working with all the other guys would be cool. Not that I can really think of, Chris Tucker. Very good question. I'm going to have to think about that one. But thank you very much for your question. Commander Q says, hey Jay, just wondering if you have a favorite Astra Militarum regiment. Personally, I love the mechanized fighting style of the Armageddon Steel Legion. I like all Acadians. Yeah, let me see it myself. I have it right here. There was one faction I really liked. I liked the look of them. It was... What were they called? Was Iron Guard, I think it was called. It's called Iron Guard. They're really nice blues. Yep. Iron Guard. The Mordian Iron Guard. Yeah, they're cool. Or the Death Corps of Krieg. They're just a really, really cool. Yeah, Death Corps of Krieg are a really cool looking faction as well. Personally, I love, yeah. So Death Corps of Krieg or the Iron. Yeah. Iron guys. The what are they called? Steel Legion. I keep forgetting my head is just off its rocker today. I'm still sick. More than Iron Guard. Yes, that's them. And yeah. Okay. Allison Kasparowski asks, "Hey Jay, would you ever consider doing a drunk video? That would be hilarious." I don't know. I don't really drink. No moral or religious obligations against it. I'm just not a big drinker. I'm pretty much crazy without the alcohol. It might be hilarious. Might not. That's a good question. I have to think about that one. But I don't know. I'm always leaving the possibility open. I'm just not a big drinker. So, potentially. Thank you very much for your question, Allison Kasparowski. House of Geek says, "Good morning, Jay." Good morning, House of Geek. Matt here from the Derbyshire, England. Derbyshire. That's a good place. My question is, how do you balance your hobby gaming with your home life? It is my home life. No, let's see. I'm a father of two and a night worker. My wife works during the day, and I struggle to keep on top of my hobby love. I squeeze in maybe a couple hours a week, but not had a game in around a year. Just want to see how the other older gamers balance their hobby and personal life. Cheers, bud. No problem. Basically, for me, my rule is, my wife and I have time set aside for us, and that's it. We set aside time. I don't have any kids. I have Spock and Rubik and the cat Mandy, but I don't have any kids, which I think kids are a real limiting factor. Once you have kids, it changes the parameters. But for me, I just set aside time with my wife, and I set aside time for my hobby, which is usually the daytime because my wife works during the days. But and then I don't cross them. That's just it's a lot of time management. But that's what I find. Yeah, it is very hard to fit in the time sometimes. But I'm luckily I do this partly for my living, so I can fit it in then. But then when my wife comes home, I dedicate my time to her. That way I don't just spend all the time working on the hobby and without her. Exactly. That's it. It's a really I spend a good amount of time each day. And sometimes she's busy anyway. And I dedicate as much time as I can to the hobby. But when I can't, I spend time with her as well. And I don't have many friends in Peterborough, so that is pretty easy. So that's okay. Matthew Talbot says, "Hello, Jay. Greetings from the land of Anglo-Saxons, England. I've noticed a lot of people asking about painting commissions that are not too expensive, and I wanted to throw in my 2 cents, or pennies, as we call them." Yes, no problem. Don't you call them pence? Aren't they pence in England? In Canada, actually, we don't have pennies anymore. So you can throw in your 2 nickels. 10 cents now. If you are looking for a cheap commission, then check out Tabletop Painter on Facebook. There's a great suggestion. Thank you. Tabletop Painter on Facebook. The profile picture is a nerdly. And see if he's for you. Tabletop standard miniatures for a really low price. Excellent. On another note, I love your content and watched you from the time at MWG and forth from the birth of your channel. Thanks for making increasingly amazing content. Thank you very much. Keep up those crazy eyes. Thank you. Crazy eyes. Thank you. Says Quantum Haid says happy queuing and yeah, I think it cut off last week. That's funny. And I pulled a what is it? The Sopranos. Any Midsent. Irrational Zero. No, Iteration Zero. Dyslexia J. That intro was corny in a super awesome way, rearranging the alphabet. I loved it. What army or armies do you feel are more underpowered than they should be compared to other armies, and why? Dark Eldar. Dark Eldar. Adeptus Sororitas is my prime example. It's an army that has been so mistreated. Yeah, Adeptus Sororitas, in my opinion. When they came up with the idea, the all-woman army, sounded cool. The models looked cool originally, but then they just aren't giving the Codex or the army any love. And then it's just this positive feedback loop. You know, they're not going to give it love, so not that many people are going to play it. They used to have some awesome combinations. Seraphim was really cool. Saint Celestine was very cool. Seraphims were cool too. But to me, the number one example, I'm glad Dark Eldar were in the group with me too. Dark Eldar didn't get much love. They got a little bit of love around their previous Codex release back in 5th. Jess Goodwin and Phil Kelly were doing a bunch of hype on it, but since then they haven't gotten a lot of things. They don't get a lot of love. And then Adeptus Sororitas, barely a real Codex. Terrible name. The models are all metal. They never upgraded the kits. If they came up with some awesome plastic kits and some better rules, I think the Adeptus Sororitas would be a much more played army and getting some more love. So that's my two examples. Also, what armies do you not see people selecting to play that you wish more did? Adeptus Sororitas. Adeptus Sororitas. And more home factions of Space Marines would be very cool to see. I don't see a lot of Chaos Demons. No, not many people play Chaos Demons. Chaos Space Marines I've seen a bunch in this area, but not many Chaos Demons, not many Dark Eldar. So Dark Eldar, Adeptus Sororitas, Chaos Demons. Cool stuff like that. And then he says, comment on the Outward conversation. The focus on the miniature and not the gameplay is a cop-out and a ridiculous statement from GW. Yeah. And then he just discusses why. But I agree. It's a weird conversation because the miniatures are for a game. And I agree, the miniatures are beautiful. The miniatures are awesome. Every time I see a new miniature they're releasing for 40K, I just want to buy it. Forge World, I wish I had money for Forge World stuff because every time I see a new Forge World model, I'm like, I want to buy it. The new Knights that they've been releasing, the Cerastus Knight, and they just released another one that'll come out, I think, next week. Amazing. But I know it's really weird when they say they're a miniature company, not a game company. Jim White says, Jay, could we see the models you are going to paint for the future 1,000-point challenge before we cast our vote? How did you already see that? I just announced it 10 seconds ago. You're good, Jim White. You're good. How did you do that? Did I mention this before this? You just blew my brain, Jim White. I really should. I put up the video, though, already. Maybe I should. Maybe I should create a 1,000-point list of each one and what I want to create. And I'll add it to the... maybe I'll make a supplementary video. We'll see. Good suggestion. But just to make it clear on this, if you guys are watching this one, for Tyranids, I want to put Gargoyles, a Swarm Lord, and probably, let's see, Gargoyles, a Swarm Lord, and another Flyrant into my army. That alone will be almost 1,000 points. And then I'll Zoanthropes and Venomthropes. That'll take up my 1,000 points. For Grey Knights, it will be Dreadnoughts with twin-linked auto cannons. It will be maybe a Dread Knight. Definitely 15 Strike Squad members. And either a tank, a transport of some sort. Either Razorback or a Rhino. And that's pretty much 1,000 points for Grey Knights. Maybe a Dread Knight. We'll see. That'd be pretty cool. Dread Knight would be cool. Or another Librarian. For Orcs, I'm probably going to finish about 50 boys. Make sure that 50 boys are painted to the final standard. That's only like 300 points right there. Knobs. I'm going to have a Knob Squad. 3 more cans. And... I don't know what else for the Orcs. I haven't decided yet. Maybe another War Boss. Maybe a new Pain Boy. Maybe eventually a Battle Wagon. If I can pick up a Battle Wagon for a good price, that'd be a good choice. And then for Dark Angels, it will be Azrael, some more Tactical Marines, and Ravenwing is what I'm going to focus on. So I hope that answers your question. But very good. How did you do it? You're good, Jim White. You're very good. Hey, Jay. How are things over there? Good. Got some questions for you. Sure. Number 1. Have you ever went to Warhammer 40k fan site? No. The fan site? If then, you should check it out. I will definitely check it out after this. Thank you very much for the suggestion. Number 2. Have you tried to make a custom Space Marine chapter before? I thought about it. I'm really debating. I really love the look of those Storm Wardens. I like them a lot. They were a cool chapter. Or just come in my own chapter, the J-Knight. The problem was, I originally was going to paint a blue... I love blue. Blue's my favorite color. And other than the green. But blue's my favorite color, and I wanted to create a personalized chapter of the Grey Knights called the J-Knights. That was originally my goal. And it fell through, and I'm glad it kind of did, because people kind of got... When I worked at Mini Wargaming and I said J-Knight so much, people kind of got mad. And number 3, have you heard of another YouTuber called Commissar Gamza? No, I have not. I'll go check him out. Commissar Gamza. Let me put that in my searches, so that I can remember this after this, and go find Commissar Gamza. Sorry, I'm just going to do that. Commissar Gamza. Oh, he's dressed as a commissar. 420 videos. That's the sound. Wow. A lot of videos. Wait a minute, I think Shauna. I've seen videos with Shauna in them before. She had another channel or name originally. Yes. I do know this channel. Yeah, Shauna, I've seen before. I remember videos of Shauna. But thank you very much for the suggestion. Everyone go check out Commissar Gamza. Let's see about how many videos. Not bad. Cool. Cool stuff. Where was I? I don't know. I just lost where. Oh, there I am. What do you think? Number 4. What do you think of Space Marine chapters that are based on countries? Like, for example, American Space Marines or Russian Space Marines. I think they're awesome. There was actually one of the awesome armies that I thought was really cool. It was kind of Canadian, but wasn't. Where this guy created an entire army called Space Beavers, and they were the Leave It. They were from Leave It 2, the planet. So they were the Leave It 2 Beavers. And then people also do the... I've seen really cool, like, Canada-themed Canadians. So the Canadian group for Imperial Guard. I love it. I think it's awesome and patriotic, but it's really cool. Or the Russian Space Army. Yeah. You should check out my Death Templars. Cool. I will definitely check out your Death Templars. I created. That will be part of the Imperial Fist Successors chapter. Excellent. Night Ravens, Braid of Dorn, Black Knights, Blood Scorpions. Very cool. Yeah, I love it when people create their own chapters. There's nothing wrong with creating your own Space Marine chapters. It's pretty cool. I love it. You know, I find myself in the same rut too. It's hard to get creative sometimes when you're trying to paint an army. It's hard sometimes to be creative about this, but I always love those people who do their own creative spin on their armies, and it really does pay off in the end. It's a lot of extra work, but it looks great, and it just really pays off in the end. Orcs is the biggest. It says 4 or 5 copies. My store got around 20 Space Hulk kits. What? Mine got 3. Alright, I went to 2 different stores. One got 3, and one got 4. And I think one got 6. My other one got 6, but it sold out. They were all pre-orders, so not very many copies. Well, I don't know what country you're in. Orcs is the biggest, but you're lucky. Spoiled. Hackerdick Switch says, "Hey Jay, sorry Jay, LOL. The new Dark Eldar rack models are out, and the new Dark Eldar Codex to follow within the next few weeks. I'm predicting my Dark Eldar army is ready and waiting to play, painted in a gold and burgundy red scheme. Nice, red theme. Please do a big review of the Codex, as usual. Many things indeed. I will for sure. 100%. I'm going to do it. My goal is every supplement and every Codex from now on, I'm going to do a review on. The reason being is, it familiarizes. It's a great way of keeping myself up to date with the codices. I read the codices and I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know, I don't want to fall into a situation where I'm not. This isn't an attack by any means on Matt or Dave at Mini Wargaming. They're both really good guys. The problem is with both of them is that they lose track of the other armies. And I found that when I was working at Mini Wargaming was they didn't really read the other codices. Except for the ones that they were familiar with. So they kept falling in a situation where they weren't interested in other armies and they just didn't know what they were doing. They weren't keeping up with the meta. So, you know, I don't want to fall in that situation because I want to keep myself up to date. Plus, people love them. And that's cool. It's a win-win situation. And in the end, my review essentially pays for the Codex. So no harm, no foul, you know? I don't mind at all. It takes a day of my time, but I really like doing them. People really like them. That's what matters. I love it when a video that I love to make, people love. Because that's awesome. It's a lot of love. Love, love, love. And that's the great section between what you want to do and what people want to see. You know, I love making battle reports. Even playing by myself. If people love watching them, it makes me happy. That's what you're going to find. I'm going to slowly focus on things that people love, but I'm going to keep making, obviously, my normal videos as well. So, yeah. I will definitely, for sure. Angel Lara says, hey Jay, remember, you can put as many models as you like in reserve. I know, people have called me on that so many times. I should do a rules you get wrong. I forgot. I misread that when I read the 7th edition Codex, the 7th edition rulebook, the first time it came out, and that the half of the models in reserve rule is now gone. So that's pretty sweet, especially with the Grey Knights, where the Grey Knights automatically, like, they can deep strike in turn 1, and the Warlord has that power that I keep getting. Like, I keep re-rolling, because you can re-roll in the Warlord chart. I always get the number 4, you can come in on turn 1 automatically, and so that would really save the Grey Knights. Yeah, the Nemesis Strike Force is awesome, as you mentioned. Also, you don't have to field that list. You can just build a regular combined arms. Yeah, it's true, but I like the Strike Force rules. Yeah, and then he says, either way, there's a downside to all these new codices. You'll notice it says that when you play in Maelstrom War Missions, they must substitute the first 6 cards for the new tactical cards that are for that army. So far, it's affecting Orcs and Grey Knights. Yeah, it's true. And unfortunately, I don't have the tactical cards. I totally forgot to order them. I really got to get them. Wendy Crescent says, Wendy! Oh, by the way, Wendy, I put up a painting. Wendy is a subscriber in the Warp. And Wendy requested an Adeptus Sororitas, so this week's painting tutorial is a Sisters of Battle, what's her name? Sisters of Battle, Mistress of Redemption, I believe she's called? Mistress of Repentance, sorry, Repentance, not Redemption. And it's specifically because of her, Wendy's comment. So Wendy Crescent says, Adeptus Sororitas got some love, not from GW though. Exactly. I play the TG Fandex for a reason at my local gaming room. That's awesome that they allow it. Yes, Adeptus Sororitas, no love. Such an interesting army. Good fluff, you know. They're kind of the nuns with guns. And they just never took off because they got no love. No love. You know, like all their vehicles get invul saves. Awesome. And back with the old Faith rules were really cool. They kind of streamlined it for 6th edition. But, yeah. Black Tom says, hey Jay, I am in the camp of 6th Ed Codices will be rewritten. Yeah, I agree. I think they will be. In fact, they will be starting soon. Because they're out of 5th edition codices in 2 more. The only 2 5th edition codices remaining are, well, arguably sisters, but we'll put Adeptus Sororitas in a different category, are Dark Eldar and Dark Eldar and Blood Angels. So 6th edition will be. There was enough that changed from 6th to 7th Ed to justify 7th Ed to be released. I agree. I really do feel that 7th Ed is a very, very good upgrade to 6. It's like 6.5 almost, but I really like the way the rules are written in 7th edition, and if 7th edition just was written instead of 6, it would have made a lot of people happier, I think. I am just not seeing any large changes to the rules that would lead to an 8th edition anytime soon. Better not. I hope you're right, Black Tom. So yes, I'm a little sad when I have to rebuy 4 codices to run my armies. I know, because I have 2 new ones. My 2 7th editions are Orcs and Grey Knights, but I'm a Necron player as well. I used to play Necrons. Oh, sorry, Necrons are also 5th edition. I keep saying that they're 6th, but they were 5th edition written for 6th. So they're also coming up. So Necrons will be coming up too. Drop in a bucket, yep. But how can you not have the Avatar, Calgar, Abaddon, Yark, etc.? The Lords of War. Exactly, that's what I say. I feel it would be much to data slate or list in the errata FAQ. it would be really smart on GW's end for the folks who bought the codices digitally to have them either auto-update, change for free, or just for a small fee to encourage folks to the digital. That'd be a great idea, in fact. I think that'd be really good. Like, even if you just charge half the price. Half the price. So instead of $60, you pay $30 in Canada. That alone would justify it. Because in the long run, you're going to be in good shape. Because iTunes will remember the purchases, or iBooks, whatever it's called, and it would be a great idea. Or a fraction of the fee. You know, auto upgrades would be amazing. I don't think they'd ever do that because they'd lose a lot of money. But even a small fee, $10, $20, and you get to auto upgrade to the next one, great idea. Games Workshop, take ideas from Black Tom. As a book owner and not a digital owner, even I would be cool with that. So my question is this. After they get Blood Angels and Necrons done, do you think they will have the people doing these codices go clean up Forge World first? I see a lot of data slates in Forge World's future if they do so. Or do you think that they will start on 6th codices right away and have it the first time in years, all the codices will be up to date within the current game? I think they're going to do both, actually. I think they've already started cleaning up Forge World. I really do think that they're going to start cleaning up Forge World now, while they're finishing up the 5th edition codices. And then, because right now they're working on the download section, I've noticed on Forge World. Not crazily well, but they're still working on it. And then I think they're going to do both at the same time. I definitely see 6th edition codices coming next year. So Dark Angels and Chaos will probably get updates next year. They're still in the battle box. So they're still going to be a favorite army for starters. So yeah, that'd be interesting if they actually got all the codices up to date for the current edition. That would be amazing. Yeah, that would be really amazing. And they could do it. The thing is, most of the armies are new enough that they wouldn't have to add many models or even subtract many models. They can just update the books, charge money, and get people to buy it. Yeah, like the Grey Knights Codex. Very interesting idea. Yeah, very interesting idea. HellCareX26 says, Jay, for those interested in Warhammer Fantasy Bat Reps and Army book reviews, should go to Mr. Malorian, M-R-M-A-L-O-R-I-N, Mr. Malorian YouTube channel. He is one of the informative members of the fantasy community. Thank you very much for your adding HellCareX28. And yeah, Mr. Malorian, people. So now we have a lot of YouTube channels to check out. That'd be very cool. See, it'd be cool that if in the comments section, I know this would be terrible for spamming, but you know, you could leave like the person's name and it clicks on it and it goes into the channel. Like the more popular YouTubers would get really annoyed. Small Mock says, hey Jay, keep up the good work, thank you. I loved the Jay versus Jay video where Goskull got obliterated by your librarian. I couldn't stop laughing. My two questions today is I finally bought the rulebook for 40k and I've been reading through it. And I was curious on what the movement phase part says that models can move up to the maximum of 6 inches. Is that just infantry models or can only move up to 6 inches per movement phase, and how you determine their distance as... No, you just move any normal... yeah, I believe I can understand your comment. It means that any infantry model, so normal infantry, this only applies to the normal infantry or the slower, anything that can move up to 6 inches normally. They can move up to 6 inches in the movement phase. Now, if they are in difficult terrain or dangerous terrain, but if they're in difficult terrain, you roll 2d6, or if they move to recover, roll an extra d6, take the highest and you move up to that distance. But any normal infantry model starting out in the open can move up to 6 inches in the movement phase. But if they're faster moving model, like jump infantry, if they're bikes, you know, if they're on, you know, anything like a land speeder, it can move up to its full distance, either 12, 18, 24 inches in the movement phase, just as normal. So yeah, the move through 6 is only applying to the normal speed infantry, or the normal speed models. I hope that answers your question. You don't have to roll anything unless you're in terrain. You don't need to roll distance. The second question is that to how you started off this video with talking about the lifespan of the books. Because I was going to play Imperial Guard but I have been getting more interested in Chaos Space Marines, and just like the person you answered their question, I am afraid to buy the Codex for them only to have a new one come out in a couple years and have wasted $50 for nothing. I wouldn't say a couple years. I would say Chaos Space Marines are probably, my guess would be next year. If you bought it today, it would probably be good for about a year. Within the next year, I personally would predict new codices, but I could be wrong. You never know, Games Workshop style. But I personally see them. I don't think that's too controversial. Probably about a year from now, they're going to start taking out the 6th edition codices and replace them with 7th edition ones. Should I still buy it, or a more updated codex such as Tower Eldar to save the pain of buying 2 codices closer to one another? It's up to you, essentially. The thing is, though, even the problem is, just because your codex is older doesn't necessarily mean it'll get an update first, right? For example, in 5th edition, the order came out. It went Space Wolves, then Tyranids, then Space Wolves, Tyranids, Blood Angels, Dark Eldar. But as you saw in the order of updates, Tyranids went first, then Space Wolves, then Dark Eldar, then Blood Angels. So, because the order, it doesn't necessarily guarantee the same order in this next edition, codices. Unfortunately, I'm under the impression, if you really, really love Chaos Space Marines, play Chaos Space Marines. You know? Maybe there's a way to get a codex for cheaper. You could find a second-hand codex. Some people might be selling them off. There are ways to save money on codices. You don't necessarily have to buy a new one. You could have friends borrow. You could borrow one from a friend for a while. There are ways of getting codices for a cheaper price. Like if you go on Kijiji, I don't know where you are located, but in Canada where I am, Kijiji, you can find codices frequently. So you can buy a codex for cheaper and build your army. The only frustration is buying an army just before it's updated is the fact you get used to playing an army a certain style, and then it gets updated and you're like, oh, I just learned the army. With that being said, I think Chaos Space Marines shouldn't change too crazily between codices. I don't think it's going to be too crazy. Abaddon will probably move to a Lord of War. A couple things will get more cheaper, a couple things more expensive. But if you really like Chaos Space Marines, I recommend going with them. You know, they're a cool army. They have a lot of character to them. Yeah, it's up to you. But if you want to go with a newer army, nothing's wrong with that either. As always, thank you very much for answering my question. No problem at all. Thank you for leaving your question, and keep up the good work. Thank you. And the final set of questions. The Infamous Nerd says, I have a question. I've been interested in miniature wargaming since I came across mini wargaming. I was wondering, how should you start up Necrons, Termagons, and Tau? Termagons. I'm guessing you mean Tyranids. Sorry for any misspelling. No problem at all. No problem at all. You're new, and Tau. Tyranids. All right, let's start with this. Necrons, Tyranids, and Tau. The way you want to start each one is literally with the troops. I always start an army with the troops. For Tau, you need to have normal suits, right? They're a great way to start an army. You buy a couple squads of troops and a Devilfish as transports, a great way to start any army. For HQs, you could buy the battle suits. They're a great addition. If you want to play competitive for heavy support, get a Riptide. Or a, what's it called? Pretty much any of their heavy support are really good. Hammerhead, great choice. For elites, the suits are the best ways to go. But suits are amazing, and suits give you the customization capability to go against anything. You can give them whatever guns you really want, and they're all nasty. Really, really nasty. But I always start an army with troops, because it's the foundation of every army. Most force organization charts, you have to have a bunch of them. And if you're playing normal game of 40k, you need troops. They're important. So I always start off with troops. For Necrons, warriors are a great suggestion. Warriors are, you're going to be playing warriors pretty much in any army, other than if you want to play mortals. But warriors, great way to start an army. A Ghost Ark, great transport vehicle, gets the guys to where they want to go, and also produces more guys if you want. For HQs, a normal lord, normal overlord, and give him a royal court of a lord and a cryptek, you'll be in great shape. An overlord with a scythe is one of the nastiest HQs for the points in the entire game. Get Mind Shackle Scarabs, which means your opponent can hit himself and just destroy himself. And Overlords are a great choice. If you want to play Cheese, which this will probably get adjusted in the next edition Codex, the Flyers are hands down probably the best transports in the game for their points costs. The two scythes, Doom Scythe and Night Scythe. The Night Scythe is the transport, and it is nasty. It breaks pretty much all the rules of transports, and it's a flyer, and it has a really good gun, and it's really good for its points costs. And Tyranids. Tyranids, once again, troops. If you buy like the normal battle, I think there's like a battle box you can get, and it just comes with all troops. Yeah, Tyranids are a weird one for troops. You basically gotta decide Hormagaunts, Termagants, or Warriors. They're, to me, the three best troop choices. For HQs, a Hive Tyrant with wings is a great choice. It's a very, very viable choice in 7th edition. Elites is where the real debate happens, because you have... Well, Elites and Heavies. Actually, Heavies is where the debate happens. Elites, Venom Thropes will save your army. They will save your army. If you're starting off a game, they give everyone cover. And that is really good. Unless you're playing against Cow, which ignore cover. But most armies, it'll keep your guys alive. Hive Guard are really good for popping light armored vehicles. And Zoanthropes are amazing because they give you psychic dice during the psychic phase, and they have a Warp Blast shot, which is really nasty against Land Raiders and pretty much any vehicle. Yeah, they'll pop vehicles like no one's business. And for heavy support, I think Carnifexes are pretty viable still. Triguns are still viable. What am I missing? I'm missing something. Yeah, Carnifexes, Triguns. If you want a really heavy hitting gun, there's the Tyranifex. Those are where to start. And Dave says, oh, but people answer the comments. Dave Yezium says, Necrons, Tyranids, and Tau is what you meant, I'm thinking. For Necrons, lots of Ghost Arcs with whatever you like for support. It's all about using warriors. Yep, they're unkillable mobs and slowly walking towards them. Exactly, eating all their bullets and laughing at them. Cool, thanks. I'll see what I can find. Black Tom says, hold out on Necrons to the next Codex. I think so too. They're going to be probably in the next 6 months. You do not want to drop money on a Codex. You have a new one come out in 3 months. Yeah, Jay mentioned that in the previous update. So wait, thanks. Also, there is no might. They will be updated before the end of the year. Yeah, Black Tom. They're very coming up, right? It's just them. Next Codex will arguably be Blood Angels after these Dark Eldar. Dark Eldar are going to be in the month of October. And then probably one more by the end of the year will probably be Blood Angels, and then Necrons early next year, probably February. So that's it. Because this video was put up. This video was put up on Sunday. I'm sorry. The problem is with this video is that it takes about 10 minutes to render. Sorry, it takes an hour to render for every 10 minutes of video. So an hour and 30-minute video, which was last week's, took 9 hours to render, and there was an error in it, unfortunately. Some weird sound problem in the middle of the video, so I had to re-render it. So it took me 2 days to render. So that's it. This one will be up on Friday. It'll be up Friday night, because it's now Friday noon, 1:30ish, and it'll be up tonight. But thank you so much for leaving all your comments and your questions, and it really does mean a lot. And thank you as well for answering each other's questions. I love these things. It creates such a good community of people helping each other out and just lifting up the community. I love it, you know. Yes, it is awesome, and I'm happy to be part of it. So thank you so much for leaving your comments, and leave more comments in the comment section down below. If you want to see more Spock, leave a comment in the comment section down below. He's pretty cute. So thank you so much for checking out this video. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Give me some more cues to Jay. And until next time, this is Jay saying, happy queuing, happy painting. Yes.